morning to you and welcome to Business. The Bank of Ghana is taking steps to firm up the marginal stability that the Ghana Cedi has recently witnessed. Sources say the daily support for banks has improved slightly, reaching over $300 million since May. But has this really improved the situation of banks that are demanding more dollars to support businesses? The following report has more.
From just a little dollar support, the Bank of Ghana has improved its intervention from around $10 million to about $30 million in a day to the commercial banks. However, sources say based on the market demand, the regulator sometimes adjusts its support. Checks by Joy Business shows that there has been some marginal stability on the market compared to the early part of May this year, where we saw some significant decline in the cedi's value almost every day, which saw the rate hitting almost 5 Ghana cedis. But according to the new president of the Association of Financial Market Operators, which is made up of bank treasurers and currency dealers, the improved support has helped the situation. According to the Bank of Ghana, the sudden pressure on the cedi has come about as a result of some foreign investors selling off their local bonds purchased in return for dollar investment, as well as the MTN IPO. But whichever way you look at it, a more sustainable way of stabilizing the cedi in the long term is required than this dollar support business, especially when the Bank of Ghana's dollar reserve, which should be around $8 billion, is limited, and managers might want to be careful not to deplete everything so that there will be enough for a rainy day when the demand really picks up.
Meanwhile, some commercial banks have started publishing names of their loan defaulters, perhaps as a way of reducing the mounting non-performing loans, which is negatively affecting banks' books. Joy Business gives some reasons why non-performing loans continue to rise from the bank's perspectives.
There have been some publications in the national dailies by banks on customers who have defaulted on loans they took from the banks, even as far as putting the pictures of directors of these companies in the national papers or the national dailies. Now, we are going to explore the main reasons or the underpinnings why customers default on loans they take from banks. And if you go through banking literature or financial literature, it's broken down into two main categories: bank-specific factors and the macroeconomic environment. What do I mean by bank-specific factors? What factors does this bank that the customer borrows from cause, or how does this bank affect the customer's repayment ability or the loans that go bad? And how does the macro environment affect this? We are all conversant with how the macro environment affects how loans go bad. We look at the cedi's depreciation, we look at inflation, we look at how this affects customers' ability to repay back their loans. So, for example, if you borrow from a bank and you import items and the cedi depreciates, you are left with very little to pay back to the bank because you're using a lot of your money to import these goods and services. That's when the cedi depreciates. If you look at bank-specific factors, you look at, for example, if you go and apply for a loan from a bank, the bank is supposed to scrutinize where you, the customer, or the borrower is coming from. And banks are doing this in a very lackluster manner. They're not really taking cognizance of this approach, and it's called screening. There are three main ways in which a bank looks out for borrowers: screening, monitoring, and enforcement. Screening, essentially, when you come through, they look at you and see if you are credit worthy. Monitoring is how are you repaying back these loans? Are you doing it diligently? Are you defaulting, or are you showing signs of default? And enforcement, when these loans go bad, they are supposed to pursue you. And that's why you find these things in national dailies, or you have some customers going to court because the banks are looking at different ways of getting back their monies.
And Philip Namfuri bringing you that analysis, ending business for the mornings. And more business come your way at midday. My name is Emmanuel Abwaji. Have a good morning.